Hi everyone, this is the Spring Framework tutorial. In this course, we are going to talk about all the concepts in Spring Framework. The topics that we are going to discuss are following. We'll start with introduction. We'll cover Spring Core, Spring JDBC, ORM, testing, Spring MVC, and at the last we'll cover Spring integration. This course will completely on the hands-on on these following topics. So we'll start with the Spring Core first. So let's see what are the topics there in the Spring Core. So we have different concepts in Spring Core: the design principles, the IOC, container, and dependency injection. We'll discuss all in this video in Spring Core. So if we talk about the Spring Framework, so Spring Framework was introduced in the 2003 and it makes easy to create Java enterprise application. It's a open source that we all know. The code is available on GitHub, so we can check the code as well. And Spring has divided into several modules that we'll check later in this course. On a Spring Core part, we have a different topics: IOC container, XML based container configuration. We have different container configurations. So we'll see that one by one. First we'll start with XML and then we'll start with annotation. At last we'll cover the Java base also. So let's say we are going to create a new project in Spring Tool Suite. So first we are going to start with an IOC container. IOC container is responsible for initiating the beans and assembling that beans. It basically manages the complete life cycle. So once we have a business object and the metadata, we pass into a Spring container and it produces a configured system. So once we have this all information, we pass to the IOC container. Once it get ready, we can call it to get the bean. Bean is basically an here instance that we can use at a runtime. It's basically the object of any class. So we are going to see now how we can create an IOC container and how we'll use that in a Spring application. I've created a new project here. So it's a Spring Boot application. You can also create a simple Maven application and you can import a Spring Core. So here we need only a Spring Core. Because we are going to start from the scratch, I have commented here these statements. So the annotation that we are using to initialize the Spring Boot application, I have commented it here. Now we are going to initiate the IOC container. So to initialize the IOC container, we need metadata. So the metadata we can create in a form of Java code or we can create in a XML. To start it from the scratch, I have created here the metadata in XML. We'll also see how we can create this metadata using the annotations and through a Java code. So what we are doing here, we have a class of person and we need an object of this person class. So this is the way in Java application we initialize a object. But in Spring we have an IOC container that is basically who is responsible to create all that beans. So what we do here, we'll call the application context. We'll create an application context reference here and pass the class path XML application context and give that metadata. So the metadata that we have here app.xml. So we have defined here the beans. So one bean we have defined here ID of type person and the class of person here. So we pass this app.xml here, and whenever we need a object of person class, we'll call the application context, that is basically our IOC container, to get that bean, and here we can pass person.class. So this is how we initializing the Spring IOC container. and this is how we are getting the bean. So once we get that bean, we can set here person dot get first name in a system dot out, or first we can set here set first name, and then we can print here. Now if we have to run this class, we can simply run as Java application. We don't need any other jar to run this application. We don't need any server. So here what we are doing, we are passing the app.xml, the resource file, and it create a IOC container, the application context, and that is of type singleton. So we'll see this when we'll come to the bean scopes. We'll see what are the types of beans we can create. So if you see here, it's printing first name Pradeep. Okay. So we have initialized an IOC container here. We have created a reference for application context, and we are passing our XML based configuration metadata. In the app.xml, we have defined the one bean. In that bean, we are passing the ID. ID is useful when we have to identify individual bean. Class to define the type of the bean. So we are using here class. ID will be use the person, for example here when we'll see that in the dependency. So we have to pass the reference of the beans. So there it will be helpful. We'll use that. And here we are retrieving that bean from the application context. Now let's discuss some more about the bean. Okay, so IOC container is basically manage one or more beans. IOC container is mainly responsible to initialize all the beans and manage its life cycle. So IOC container assemble all the beans, and whenever we need it, we call the IOC container to get that bean and do the work. So there are bean definition is there in the IOC container. So in the bean definition, we have various parameters that we can use. We have class, we have bean behavior configuration elements. For example, if you have to define the scope of the bean, so you define the behavior of the beans, how it behave with others. And we have reference elements where we define the reference of the bean where we need to work with other objects. And there are other configuration settings that we'll see for the beans. Now we are going to start with dependency injection. Dependency injection and the IOC, the both are the main backbone of Spring framework. So dependency injection is a process whereby objects define their dependencies, the objects that they want to work with. So there are two types of dependency injection in a Spring. First is constructor based and second one is setter based dependency injection. Both we will discuss with example. Let's see. Now we are going to implement dependency injection. To implement the dependency injection, we are taking an example of bank account. So here we are going to add one more class and give it name account. Okay, and let's create some more classes. First we are going to create an interface and give the name as account service. And let's define in the com dot, and here I have add dependency injection. So account service is an interface. In that there will be one method to create account. So let's write here public void create I've added a simple method create to create the account. Now we have two types of account, the saving account and the current account. Let's add the classes for both. So here I am adding saving account and implementing account service. And here we can add unimplemented method and just print here creating savings account. And let's add one more class here and give it name current account. And let's implement this as account service. Creating current account. So we have two classes, saving account and the current account, and we have interface account service. Let's add one class, the main bank class, that will call the account service class and to create the account. So let's add here and give it name my bank account. And let's add here the constructor. So my bank account give the option to create account. So let's here add public void create account. Now we need account service because in account service only the create method is there. Let's add here private account service account service. Now when we'll call the create account, we'll call account service dot create. So you are in my bank account. Now we have to initialize this account service. So here account service is a dependency. So in the my bank account we are adding all the objects, that objects we have to work with them. So this is the dependency that we have added here in this class my bank account. So if we need to initialize this, we can do here equal to new saving account, and or we can create here new current account. So if you are doing like this, and for example if you want to change dynamically, you have to change which account you have to create. So you can't change here because this code is not you have to couple this code again, you have to write again this code. So to make it loosely coupled, what we can do here, we can pass argument here in the constructor, the object that we have to initialize. If we write here the saving account and saving account, and let's type this dot account service here saving account. So this is the option we can do, but that also not we can't initialize the current account. So what we can do here, let's add account service and this one account service. Now this code is more loosely coupled. Here we can switch the accounts at runtime. Which account we have to create, we can switch through that. So we can use a saving account as well and the current account also. So let's test this. In a Java application, if we have to uh, initialize this my bank account, first we have to create account service, and account service equal to new saving account. Then we can do my bank account, new my bank account, and we can pass here account service. After that, let's do my bank account dot create account, and when we'll run this as a Java application, so it's creating savings account. And if we need to create current account, what we can do, account service current, and here we can do current account. Let's add this. When we run this as Java application, it's creating current account. So this is what we are doing in Java. And now here in the Spring framework, the dependencies that we have added in the my bank account, so the Spring container, the IOC container, that has to inject that dependencies. Now how it can inject that dependencies, we have to give some metadata information to the IOC container. So in this object we need to use this dependency. So after that only IOC container will create constructor and pass the and inject that all the dependency that's needed in this class. So there are two types of dependency injection: constructor dependency injection and setter dependency injection. Constructor dependency injection are those we define the dependency in the constructor argument, and the container will inject that dependencies when it call the constructor or through this factory method. And if we create a setter dependency injection, so here what we'll do, we create a setter method here. We'll go to generate, and so this is what we can do, this setting the account service. So we can use the setter method, that is setter dependency injection. So let's go first to discuss the constructor based dependency injection. We'll use the same app.xml to define the meta information for the constructor dependency injection. Then we'll come to the setter base. In constructor based dependency injection, container will invoke the constructor of the class with number of arguments, and each argument will represent a dependency. So this is a typical example. We create a beans in the XML configuration metadata, and here we are doing a constructor based dependency injection in between the bean1 and bean2. So we are using bean2 in the bean1 class through a constructor dependency. So let's go through the working, how we can create constructor dependency injection. We'll see in the code. We have created here account service, my bank account. Let's declare all the beans in the app.xml. We are going to add here one bean of ID my bank account, and that of type class, You can copy here this dot my bank account. So this is the bin for my bank account. In this my bank account class, we are using a dependency for the account service. So let here create another bin, and we'll declare this as current account, and that of class current account, and let's add here. So we have created another bin of current account, and same will create a bin of saving account. And here we'll give saving account. So these all three bins we have created. Now in the my bank account, we'll use constructor based dependency injection. Let's do the constructor argument, and here we have two ways we can pass. Either we can create here reference, so we can nested the bin in a reference here, or otherwise we can directly pass inline in the constructor argument. So let's remove this and create like this, and give the reference equal to current account. So we are passing the current account in the my bank account constructor. We can here change to saving account. If we need to do the saving account, we can pass here in the reference saving account. And let's now test this one. To test this, let's remove this or comment it, and we'll create one bin of my, will retrieve the my bank account from the application context. Here we'll give get bin, and class will be my bank account. Now let's run this application as a Java application. So you can see here it's printing creating current account. So in the Java code that we have written earlier, what we were doing, we are creating account service of saving or current account, and we are passing that in reference to the my bank account. Now if you want to pass, if you are pass here the saving account, let's run the application. It's printing creating saving accounts. This is the dependency injection for the constructor based. Here we can do we can define here a type when we are if we are using any primitive data types, so where there we can define the type. For example, if I'm using int, we can do int. And also we have one more attribute, value. In value we can pass the value for the variable that we are using in the constructor. For example, here we can assume I am using here a type of string to display the name. So let's do here type string, and value will be Pradeep. And in the account service, my bank account, sorry, we can create here string name, and here we can add one more private string name, and here we print this dot name. Let's write here this dot name equal to name. So now when we will run this, so it's printing the name. You can also define the order of the constructor argument. Here we have this is at 0th order and this is at 1st order. For example, in the my bank account, you have these arguments, so you can define according to the order of the arguments. So this is all about a constructor dependency injection. We use a constructor argument to pass the reference of the beans. Once we define the reference here, the container will inject all these dependencies into this class, and then we can use the bean of this class. So we are retrieving a bean, and then we are doing our work. In setter based dependency injection, container calling setter method in our beans. First it will call the constructor with no argument, and then once it can get the reference of that bean, then it will call this setter method to inject the dependencies. This is the example. Here we have created two beans and we are using here property name. So this is the nested setter reference. We are passing the reference in a nested property, and we are using here setter injection. Let's discuss this in the working code. So in the app.xml, we have created here the set constructor based dependency injection. Now we are going to implement a setter based dependency injection. So we have a saving account and a current account. Here we are going to add a account object. Let's declare here private account account. In the account, let's define some properties. Private string account ID, no account holder, and we'll generate here the setter and getter methods. So to add this account in the app.xml, we'll use here one bean here, and we define this as account, and we'll do models dot account. Now in the account we are using two properties. Let's set using the setter dependency injection that properties, the account ID and the account holder. We'll create here property and name will be account ID, and value be 1011. So this is some dummy value. We'll declare here account holder, some user. Now in the saving account or in current account, we are declaring here account, and let's pass here account. Let's pass here also the account. In the my bank account, so here we have account service, and let's create here let's remove this, and we'll pass here this account. We can remove this. So here we have adding the account object here, and we'll pass in my bank account when we'll create this bin. In the current account we have added one account here, and in the saving account as well we have created here. So in the current account, let's get here. So here we are passing the ID, but it's a create method. It needs to create the ID. So just to test it, we are passing here ID. Okay. So in the app.xml we have here account. So this in the my bank account. So let's here define that reference account. this looks more clear. We can add here the account constructor because we are passing in the create method the account object. So we can now test this. Let's open. Okay, in app.xml we need to do this. So let's run this as a Java application. So if you see here, it's throwing an exception because error creating bean with name my account defined in the class path cannot result reference to bean account. No bean name account available. So in app.xml, if we see here, we are passing account in this bean. So there is some spelling mistake. Let's do this. Okay, now we can run this as Java application. So it's now printing the ID of the account. So in the app.xml, we have created one more bean for the account. There we are initializing the dependencies. That the dependencies basically the properties that we are using, that we are setting through the setter method. So we are passing here the property name and then the value. Once this bean has created, we are passing in the constructor argument to the my bank account, and in the my bank account we are setting this account here and passing through the account service. This is what we have created in constructor dependency injection, in setter dependency injection. We'll take some more examples. We'll create a real some project so we can in that we can practice all these concepts. So let's go to the next topic. Next we are going to start with auto wiring. We already discussed IOC container. We created XML based container configuration, and we have seen bean overview, dependency injection. Let's start with the auto wiring. So to start with auto wiring, we are going to take an example of employee and a project. So I've created another package here, auto wiring. Let's add a new class. We can call it name employee service. In this class, let's create one dependency class, that is project. So project have a unique ID. Let's define private string project ID. Now we are going to add the setter and getters method. So this is a simple class project. Project have two fields, project ID and project name, and we have setter and getter methods. Let's use employee project in the employee service class. So here we can add one method that gives the get employee details. Here we'll use private project, and let's use a constructor here. And we'll use this dot project equal to project. Let's add some statements, some system.out.println statements. Project ID, so here I have added employee name. Let's here do string name. So employee name will be used here. This dot employee name equal to employee name. Okay, and here let's give one more statement. And we'll say this employee name, this dot name. Okay, this looks better now. We have employee service and we have a project class. Project have two fields that we'll use in the employee service. Let's go to app.xml here. Now first we'll add a bean of employee service. Let's call this employee service, and we'll use the package here. So in the employee service we are using two dependencies. Basically one is field, private string employee name, and there is one is project. So the string primitive types, and these are user defined object. So in the auto wiring we can only use the user defined object. So for that only we can inject the dependencies. So let's add here app.xml auto wire. So here first we'll use by type. Let's add here bean. We'll call this project, and here let's define project, and here we'll use auto wire no, and let's define the property, and property name equal to project ID. Value we can give here 1012. Let's add one more property here. So this is a setter injection, and give this project name, and we'll give value retail shopping website. Okay, so we have this bean project and employee service bean. So let's now go to our main class and we'll use here employee service. Get bean. Let's comment it others. Get employee details. Now we'll run this as Java application. So it's throwing an exception, error creating with bean because we have not defined for the name. No default constructor found. Java language. So this is the error. What we can do here in the employee service, let's define one more constructor. So we don't need to add this because this will inject this through auto wiring. And in the app.xml, now we define constructor argument type string value Pradeep. And now we'll rerun this application. So it's saying employee name, but it's throwing exception to get that project ID. So let's see where we're getting the issue. So we did auto wiring by type. So we can go to our employee service class. Let's say to add the setter method here. For the project, for the employee name, it's fine. We are using here in the constructor, even because if the employee project is injected, we don't have any setter and getter method. So this Spring container will set that into our bean. So let's try to add this. And now we'll run this again. So yeah, we are getting employee name and the project details. So we have seen here, even if we using auto wiring, we should have to define in the class either constructor or the setter and getter methods. Without it, this Spring container cannot be set the dependency into that bean. That obvious. We don't have any parameter to set because they all are private. So we don't have any option to set that bean. This is all about the by type. So let's see by name. So we have seen the auto wiring by type. Now let's go to by name. In the by type, when we are auto wiring in the employee service, if we change the name to, and here we can say change the setter and getter methods. Here we can go to source and generate getters and then setters. So if we are giving auto wiring by type, then the type of the bean will be match. So if we run this as a Java application, so it's running fine. It's printing the name and giving project ID. But in the app.xml AutoWire, if we change to by name, and now let's rerun this Java application. So it will throw an exception because the project it will not able to inject that dependency. So here what we need to do, if we are doing auto wiring by name, the name of the bean here should be match what we have declared in the employee service class. So let's, if we use here the same name, and now if we rerun this application, now it's working fine. So in by type it will match the class type, and for by name it will match the name of the bean. And if you are using by constructor, so for the constructor, if we are using AutoWire by constructor, then in the employee service we can add this in the constructor here, exact, and we can give this dot project service equal to project. Now we don't need this method, and now let's rerun this as an Java application. So it's working fine. It's printing the project ID and the project name. So this is all about the auto wiring. We have seen how we can create the auto wiring by type, by name. We have used the auto wire now and auto wire default, the constructor. The next topic that we are going to discuss is bean scope. Scope is an important property to define in the bean definition. If we not define the scope, then the default singleton will be used by the Spring IOC container. Basically, when we define the bean definition, we define a recipe, how this object will be initialized by the Spring IOC container. So in the scope, if we are defining the prototype, Spring container will initialize a new object every time whenever we requesting to the IOC container. But in case of singleton, a shared instance will be used across the application, and we have different scope other than singleton and prototype, that are request, session, application, WebSocket. All that for a scope will be used in the web layer. Like when you are requesting HTTP request, that will say when we'll make a web application. So whenever you are logging to an application or something, you are doing the action, you request a scope to request. And whenever you are creating sessions, you can use session scope. In the servlet context, you can use application, and in the WebSocket we can define the bean scope to WebSocket. So that we will see. Let's see the code how we can define the scope in the bean definition. If we see app.xml, here we are defining the bean definition. So for example, here in the account we can define here scope. If we'll define prototype, every time whenever we need this bean in a dependency, or whenever we going to use this bean, and the Spring IOC container will give a new instance of that bean. If we have not defined the scope for the bean, the default will be singleton, and singleton case it will be used as a shared instance. So that is the bean scope we can add in the bean definition. For example, here in the employee service, if we add a scope here, prototype, let's go to our main application. Now here we'll print employee service dot hash code. Let's create one more object for employee service one. We are retrieving the bean of employee service from the application context, and let's print the hash code for this, and will run as a Java application. So if we see here, both have different hash code for the employee service and employee service one. But if in the app.xml, if we remove this scope property from the bean definition, let's remove this, and now we'll go to our main application and now rerun this as a Java application. If we see here, the hash code is same. Now it's using the shared instance. So in the memory, the Spring IOC container is creating a single object, and that will be shared in our and that will be shared across the application. So that is about the bean scope. Now we'll discuss the next, annotation based container configuration and the Java based container configuration. Next we are going to start annotation based container configuration. In the XML based container configuration, we have seen how we have created beans. In the bean we have defined the dependencies. We have given bean definitions. So in the annotation based container configuration, we don't need to add the beans in the XML file. We can use the annotations to create the beans and to do the dependency injection. We just have to add one syntax in the XML based container configuration. We have to add one element, that is context annotation config. So let's see how we can do that. So to start with the annotation based container configuration, in the app.xml, we need to here add the context schema location, and here this context.xsd that we have added here in the XML, and at the last we'll use this element here in the XML, context annotation config and context component scan. I've created a new package annotation, and here the base package we are giving this one. So if you are using only annotation configuration in your project, then you don't need to define the base package here, because this project is shared. We have discussed first the XML based container configuration. Now we are using annotations here. So here that's why I've added here the base package. So it will scan the component only in this package. So for the annotation based container configuration, we are going to take an example of movie finder. So here we'll create some classes. Let's first create a config container, and here we'll add movies lister, and one more class we'll use movies finder. So we have created three classes. First, let's uh, discuss the config container. Here we'll use configuration container. Here we'll using the configuration annotation to mark this class as a container. So it will create a different beans here. First bean will define here movie finder, and will return here new movie finder. One more bean will create movie lister, and will give here movie lister, return new movie lister. So here movie lister will add a dependency of movie finder, private movie finder, and here we'll add one method of public void get movie list, and in this class we'll add here public, or we can say it's protected void get movies. Here we'll print searching movies. So we have created this class movie finder that will find the latest movies or any movies that we want to display, and in the movies finder we'll call this movie finder to get the movies list. Let's add here private or in the movie here movie finder dot get movies. So this is what we are doing here. Movies finder we have created class and movie lister. Now this is a dependency object. So this is the dependency. Let annotate this as an auto void. Once we do the auto void, it will look up the dependency in the IOC container, and it will inject that dependencies in this bean. In the config container we have created different beans here, and we are not adding any bean definition in the app.xml file. Let's go to our main class. Here we'll call movie lister, and application context dot get bean. Here we'll call movie lister dot class, and we'll call movie lister dot get movie list. So once we run this as Java application, so if you see here it's go to searching movies. Let's comment this one. Now if we run this as Java application, so we'll see here it's for searching movies, and if you see here it's creating a shared singleton bean for this different type of classes, and it's created a container config container also in the application context. So this is annotation based container configuration. We can use different annotation. For example, here in the movie lister, if we need to add here private string parameter, and here we can use at value. In the value we can define latest, and we can display here when we'll go to our main application file, and let's run this as Java application. So it will print parameter here latest. So the at value will use as a value parameter. So this annotation we can use. Here we can also use the from the properties file. For mainly for that purpose we use at the rate value annotation when we need to fetch it from the application properties, or if we need to define the value at runtime, the parameter, so we can use that. Next, if the Java based container configuration, we have seen here, we are defining all the beans in the app.xml. So we have created here config container. So we'll use this container in the Java based container configuration. So let's see that. Let's create a new application context, that is IOC container. Here we'll call this application context, application context 2 equal to new annotation config application context, and we'll use here config container dot class, and let's use this to get the bean. So first earlier we are doing in the app.xml, we writing all the bean definitions, we are creating the beans, but now we have created one Java class. In that we have initialized all the beans, that is the config container, and that we'll use as an IOC container in the application context. And let's run this as a Java application. So you see it's printing search movies and parameter list. So if you see here, it's refreshing this annotation config application context. You can go to logs and you can see what's happening in the background in the when it's creating IOC container. So that's it for this video. We have discussed the various concepts in Spring Core. We'll start with another topic, Spring AOP, in the next video, and we'll cover the Spring JDBC and the remaining topics that we had discussed. So if you are new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. This code you will found on the GitHub. I will provide the link in the description of this video. Thank you for watching this.